Welcome back, Brien Gearin on the line. Brian, how are you?
Michael, I'm doing well, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for having me as well on your show not too long ago. Really appreciate that. We'll talk about your show in a moment, but why don't you share a
Yeah.
little bit about you and the awesome things you're doing?
I'm involved in two major things right now. Besides being a husband and father to four kids, and managing the family while working at home, my main things are Ricochet Digital Marketing, where we are essentially a support system and ecosystem builder for home service provider businesses that are, typically and Michael, as you and I were talking before we hit record, they're the backbone of society, if you will, small business in general, but home service providers are our main jam, anywhere from $1 million to $10 million in revenue on average. But the vehicle for our support happens to be digital marketing. So everything from web development to Google Business Profile Management, email marketing, paid Google ads, paid Facebook ads, and direct mail. So we use a pretty simple playbook. We can help a whole lot of businesses, regardless of if they're a $500,000 business or a $10 million business. The concepts all apply. So that's the big thing I love doing right now, and we're growing that business. Planning to take that to the moon this year, so going well so far this year. And then also, as you know, the host of Millionaire University podcast. We had you on a handful of weeks ago, Michael. Had a great time, and we exist to encourage the next generations of entrepreneurs to take the leap and to get into entrepreneurship and follow that passion or that idea that you have for a business so you can achieve that freedom you have, whether it's time freedom, financial freedom, or both. And we interview top-notch entrepreneurs that come on and share their story, share what they're doing about their business, how they started it, how things are going, talk about the trials and tribulations that went with it, and provide at least some encouragement and some actionable advice for our listeners. So having a blast doing it all, man.
Yeah, it's fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys plant that Ricochet flag on the moon. That's going to be
Yeah.
amazing to see that. You're
One
going to the
small
moon.
step for marketing, man.
Exactly. You get there, you might as well leave, a marker there. So yeah, we were here,
That's
kind
right.
of writing it in, into the dust and stuff. That we're not going to be able to
Yeah.
see that, but
Well, and our
actual
colors are red, white, and blue, so it blends perfectly with the flag that's already up there, baby.
exactly. It just makes a ton of sense. And the
Yeah.
show obviously, as we talked about in the pre-show as well. Small business, that's the backbone of our country. And home, renos and businesses and the clients that you serve, that's a service that everyone needs at some point or another. They're going to need something, and being able to get those organizations, and I know that, the trades, as we like to refer
Hmm.
to them, amazing what they do. Whether they're plumber, home renos, roofing contractors, all of them are absolutely spectacular at what they do. Marketing, they can't spell it. They're just they just can't. And I'm saying that, across the hallway from me in my condo building is somebody. It's in Maine. It's an amazing guy, skilled like no tomorrow. I'm like, dude, how do you do that?
Hmm.
My dad told me a long time ago, you're probably going to want to go into some type of office related thing, son. And I think he was complimenting me and warning me and kind of criticizing me all in one swoop. But that's all good. But at the end of the day, they're really good at some things, and when you realize you're not good at other things, and this is for an entrepreneur or business owner or anything like that, yes, you can struggle and learn it and go through it and all of that, but utilizing expertise of those that's their wheelhouse is going to help you grow a long way. And you mentioned, Google Business Profile. That is something that I've been noticing over the last, few months for sure, has been seeing some tremendous focus and growth because, and it makes total sense from a Google standpoint because we Google, we've taken a noun and made it, basically an action. But we
Hmm.
Google something and we Google a business. Okay, well, it's there, and you click on a link, and it take you there. You might see their social media things, but the beautiful thing about Google Business Profile is you can put all the information you want to put in there, basically, and keep them from a Google standpoint in Google's ecosystem. So you're not going over to Facebook, you're not going over to Instagram or X or somewhere else to look at the information. It's there. So Google is
Right.
keeping you there. So as a business owner, it makes a ton of sense because a lot of people are like, oh, there it is. There's the information. There's the phone number. There's the address. Okay, here's some of the things that they offer. Perfect. They don't, from a consumer standpoint, if I don't have to click 15 things to get the information I want, better. So
Yep.
if anybody takes
Well,
anything from this conversation, get to work on your Google business profile. So love your thoughts
yeah.
on it.
Well, yeah. So the Google Business Profile is the lowest of the low-hanging fruit for any business of any stripes, of any size, of any ilk, um, because it is free from Google. Google is not asking you to spend $5,000 a month on ad spend to have a Google Business Profile, right? The only time you'd ever pay for it is if you outsource it to someone to manage it for you, which obviously part of what we do, but there are some incredible things you can do with AI to manage profiles. Now, the profile itself has come into prominence in the past just 2 years by Google's design. The profile's always been around, and the biggest misconception of small business owners is, "Oh, I guess I have that. Google gave it to me, and I don't know, it's there. It's got my phone number and maybe a picture or two, and my name and address, yada yada." And that's all they. It's just there. It's just out in the ether, floating, right? Well, Google, they are slowly but surely moving towards what I would consider a zero click through conversion experience. Google exists to keep you on their platform as a searcher. And if they give you any reason to feel like they provided a poor searching experience, then there's a chance that you won't go back to Google to search again, right? There's other options out there. In case we forget, there's Bing and Yahoo, and there's other options. But Google wants to make sure they are the top and no one's going to knock them off the pedestal. So when it comes to local search, which is a huge percentage of Google search, and by local search, I mean people in a local area searching for a local business to solve a problem, it is huge. And Google has recognized this because if I'm looking for a local roofer and Google provides me a bunch of crappy results, like they send me to a company that's got a crummy website, it's hard to find their phone number. They have low reviews or no reviews, and there's, it looks like their profile is just abandoned. And Google, if Google were to send me there just willy nilly, now I've had a bad experience. And in my mind, I'm like, what was Google thinking? Like, what the heck is this crap? Like, why are they sending me to this crummy business? So Google, in their infinite wise and infinite wisdom, they are now placing a large emphasis on these profiles. They've been moving that way the past few years. Even now, I would say it matches or exceeds the importance of your website and your website rank. Now, not to say that's not important; it is still very important. But the profile is starting to outrank these in terms of importance, because if you can rank in the top three, what's called the Map Pack on Google Profile or on Google Search for a local service, you can like 7 to 10x your inbound phone calls, your inbound website clicks, your inbound leads from the website. It's magnanimous for businesses that operate this profile as if it's a massive part of their marketing, because it should be. So anyway, I can go on a tangent on that, but it is just the most important thing that I would say the majority of businesses ignore or just don't understand how important and how powerful this profile is.
They've spent all their time on Facebook ads or Instagram ads and recently TikTok stuff.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Go where your audience is a good bit of advice, very
Right.
simplistic,
Well,
but
and here's the thing, Google is, when I have I'm problem aware and I need my roof patched, I'm going to Google and I'm looking for the solution. I'm not going to Facebook looking for the solution. I'm not going to TikTok looking for the solution. I might be there in my spare time. I'm never going to be on TikTok, but I might be on Facebook in my spare time, which I'm hardly am, but most people are. And I might come across a roofer. I might come across your ad and I might be like, oh, I do need that service or whatever. But when I'm actively searching, I have a problem and I need a solution. And if you're not showing up in that search on a consistent basis or in the map pack, you're missing out on business. Plain and simple.
yeah, it's the in a way, it's kind of like the yellow pages again from an old adage point where people would just go there and
Yep.
look for roofers. And yes, on Facebook, there's groups and stuff like that. So if you're part of a local community group, you can say, hey, anybody got recommendations for a good roofer, for example? Yeah, you're going to get some things. But you know what? The beautiful thing about Google Business is, much like a lot of things, there's rankings, and you'll say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's like 4.1 stars out of 5, and they've got 2,000 reviews. Okay, sounds like they know what they're doing, and people
Solid
like,
sample size.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a good solid. If they got a 5.0 and there's 3 reviews on it, well, okay, nice of your buddy King to help you out on that, and he got a couple of his girlfriends to chime in and do that too. But hi King, in case you're listening, that's kind of a test to see if he's listening.
There you go.
I'll find out after it goes live, but I'll get a text. That'll be funny. But anyway, it's important to recognize that brand awareness is important, but then brand reputation is something that, again, much like Google Business, a lot of people are not necessarily focusing on that because, as we've seen, you work in the marketing space, you know this front and center. It can take eons to get your brand awareness up and reputation up, and it can take a second for it to vanish,
Hmm.
or you just never resonate with anybody, even though you might be the best at what you do in your community. If no one knows about you, no one knows about you, and it has to be a part of it. I think again that goes back to what I mentioned before, where people that are really good at what they do, there's certain areas like marketing is a great example where many people aren't that good at it. So that's why I always tell people it's like, invest in it. And in a way, and it's not that this is difficult to say, but my original career was public accounting. And advertising and marketing was always one of those areas where we looked at it and like, why are we spending so much money on this? Well, now I'm a reformed accountant and I understand why.
Hmm.
Run a business on your own. You'll realize real quick how important advertising and marketing is. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it's funny to me how I think this is common across industries, but it seems particularly so in marketing where small business owner, let's say they've been in business a couple years, mostly word of mouth, they're growing. Let's say they're a $500,000 business, still a really small business. And when it comes to marketing, they don't want to dedicate any budget. Oftentimes they feel they can do it themselves, and it's silly to me because and I've been in this position myself. When my business was new, I was like, how do I do this? Now, of course, I was in marketing, so I had a bit more of an idea. But how many times like did I do my taxes? I did them wrong, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know tax law. I don't know how to do this. I'm just costing myself money. I need to pay a professional to do this. Just like I pay a plumber to come fix the shower drain when it's clogged, or when I pay a roofer to come repair my roof. It's the same concept. If I'm a roofer or a paver or a landscaper and I want to grow my business and I haven't been a professional marketer for 5, 10 years, why would I expect me to be able to go and do the things like running Google ads and managing my profile and handling my Facebook ads and building my website? That's the big bugaboo is people think they can build websites. And it's like, I have no experience in this. I have no expertise in this. What makes me think I can do this better than someone who I could pay to do it 10 times better than me? And it's funny, I understand it from a business owner standpoint, but at the same time, the older I've gotten, the more I've caught myself trying to do certain things on my own where I know I am better served paying an expert to do it. Right. And the same applies to marketing. And it just seems even more so that everybody thinks they can market. And not to say that there aren't people who are capable, but if you've got a business doing something that's not marketing, you should probably be focusing on that, not your marketing.
Yeah, because if you're spending all your time trying to do the marketing, it's like, do you know what's resonating? Do you know what's,
Hmm.
happening in the marketplace right now? In all likelihood, no, because you're
Right.
not part of,
It's
the
not your
various,
world.
it's not your world, it's not part of your news feed, it's not, the social media accounts you follow
Hmm.
or tips and tricks or conferences. If you're in, the reno business, you're not going to a marketing conference. You might,
Right.
I say that you might, but you're going to be literally going, oh,
But here's the thing, you
I don't
you
know anything.
shouldn't be, right? You
Yeah,
you should be going to the renovation conferences, to the remodeling conferences, because that is your area of expertise. That's where you should be able to either hire someone, whether it's internally or outsource it to a company that you trust and that you know are going to be honest with you and that can handle this for you so that you can go focus on your area of expertise, whether that's handling the day-to-day in the company, whether you're still out as a foreman managing jobs, whatever that is, as you being the business owner, you've got to have someone that focuses on your specific areas. Because I guarantee you, a lot of small business owners probably don't do their own business taxes and their own personal taxes, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a handful that do, but I don't do it. I don't do my own bookkeeping. You know why? Because my bookkeeper does it way better than me. And it saves time and headaches. And it's the exact same concept when it comes to marketing.
yeah, it's just leveraging people, and it's also job creation because you're
Right.
allowing people to do work that they, I hope, enjoy doing. That's their career vocation. They enjoy doing that. It helps them. It's just how everything works, and it's a beautiful segue into Millionaire University, and inspiring, the future leaders and millionaires in our world, it's such an important thing because what I see, and this is an observation being a Gen Xer, I look at the millennial generation, I look at Gen Z, and now Gen Alpha is coming onto the scene, and I'm going, I truly, truly hope that all of these individuals can find their mentors, their path, their way to be successful, to look up to somebody, and whoever that may be, group. I mean, obviously, social media, with it being what it is, it's easy to follow somebody, and it's you can like their videos and whatnot. But to get a little bit more immersed and to hear from people and get guidance from people and what they did, the pitfalls they had, the successes that they've had, to encourage people to take that step because we need it. We need new business owners. We need new businesses created. We need additional resources to be put into the economy to help the economy grow, create businesses, improve lives, improve communities. So, your show is critically important for that. So, I always ask, people that, either launch a show or write a book, what motivated you to launch the show? What was something that you said, what, this is a time consuming adventure, as you know. It's like, what about this is so important to me that I feel that I need to launch this show?
Yeah, so it's a venture with I'm an equity partner as well as Justin and Tara Williams. They're the original founders of Millionaire University, and I came on board at the ground level with them almost 2 years ago. And the impetus for Millionaire University and the podcast was Justin and Tara made a lot of money in the real estate game. They had multiple businesses. They were flipping homes in California. They built systems and processes, became awesome entrepreneurs. They built an online education company essentially where they taught people their systems and processes and flipping homes, and they ended up selling that business too. And at that point in their lives, they could retire and live the rest of their lives, doing whatever they want. And of course, being entrepreneurs, they're not that type to just sit on the couch and hang out the rest of their lives. So their oldest son was turning 18 soon, and at this point in the game, they had kind of realized that college wasn't going to be an option. And Justin and Tara and I have the same opinion of college, where it's not the best option for the most people. And entrepreneurship, man, the alternative of going deep into debt, not knowing what you're going to get out of it 4 years later, versus why don't you start a business? Start small and start scaling, start getting paid now instead of later and avoid massive debt. Doesn't that sound like a great option for a lot of people? And Justin looked around and he and his wife said, I feel like there's not a great option for this, like an education place for entrepreneurs. So that was the start of Millionaire University, and we still have big, hairy, audacious goals for becoming, a location for education for the next generation of entrepreneurs. But that's how the podcast started. That's still our main media focus right now. And we're having a ton of fun bringing on awesome entrepreneurs that tell us their backstory, how they got into entrepreneurship, telling us about the pitfalls and the struggles and the trials they face, telling us all about their business, and providing encouragement and inspiration and some actionable advice for our listeners who are many times aspiring entrepreneurs or maybe very early stage entrepreneurs. And so that was kind of how MU came about, and we're having a great time reaching a whole lot of people each month.
It's good and it's inspiring to, again, encourage people to do things. And it reminds me of a cousin that I have, and he was your quintessential, or is, one of these people that college, no way, just no. And also working for somebody else is also a no way. He
Hmm.
he was an entrepreneur, probably, the moment they said it's a boy, it's,
Yeah.
it was never wired. And I worked with him at a grocery store for a bit, and I could tell he was just miserable being there. Which, he instead of playing the victim, he channeled that, and he launched a business, and then he launched another business, and he launched another business, and then finally, he been playing guitars forever. He loves guitars. He's been playing it probably, just like when they said it's a boy, he probably came out with a Strat or a Fender or something. I don't know. I'd have to ask my Aunt Sue that. It's like, dude, was he born with a guitar? Because I've never seen him without one.
Came out
But
of the womb playing some Metallica.
exactly. Here you go. Uh, but anyway, he one of the things he did is he'd play, and there's guitar pedals and stuff, and he could never find a guitar pedal that sounded or made the sounds that he wanted out of it. So he started tinkering around with them and ended up making his own, got the sound that he wanted, and he tinkered around, did a little bit more, and he used it, and people would hear it like, oh, that's great, great. Well, long story short, he's become a very, very wealthy individual. Some of the most famous musicians on the planet have bought his stuff.
Wow.
At any time I happen to go to a concert of somebody, he's usually there because they're using his gear. It's like, how come I'm not getting the VIP tickets from you, bud? But no,
Yeah.
it's like, why am I sitting over here? You're there. What? No, but no, I'm kidding. No, but he was one of those people, and it's again inspiring stories on your show of people like, what? I'm just gonna keep at it. You get knocked down, you get back up again. I know that's a song lyric, but it
Yeah.
still, yeah, that's the tenacious nature of entrepreneurs. Like, okay, well that didn't work. All right, next. You don't sit there and go, oh,
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't reflect on, okay, what worked, what didn't, but don't, please keep the victimhood out. And I'm preaching to all the
Hmm.
entrepreneurs and want to be entrepreneurs out there. Please check the victim thing at the door. If you are that, work with somebody in mental health to help you get past that, because it's not an easy game, but I tell you what, the end results are amazing, and you know that
Hmm.
because you've got the marketing company, you've got Millionaire University, the most important job of being a dad and a father and
Hmm.
a spouse and all of that good stuff. So you've got all of these things, and all these things take up time and all of that, but you're crushing it. And why are you crushing it? Because you're living your dream. You're living the life you've designed. And that's what I
Yep.
want for every entrepreneur. And Millionaire U is going to teach you how to do that. So I commend you guys and the team on the success you've had so far. You're going to crush it and continue to crush it, and
Thank
make,
you.
make a lot more people a lot more successful because of all of that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up that the mention of the victimhood because it's a scourge of society right now. Everybody and their brother seems to think they ought to play the victim card, and while that's horrible at a macro level for society, it is absolutely not welcome in entrepreneurship because you cannot be an entrepreneur if you have a victim mentality, like you said, because this game will chew you up and spit you out, and you will just wither away being the victim. It doesn't work. So, and that's why I love this part of entrepreneurship because it will chew you up and spit you out, even if you have no plan B, right? Like that's where when I started my thing, it was burning the boats. There's no plan B. Failure is not an option. Now, I can fail multiple times over. That doesn't mean I'm done. It just means I just learned how to not do something, right? Just like Thomas Edison, he had 10,000 ways a light bulb didn't work until he found the 10,001st way that did. And so I'm glad you brought that up because that's a big thing that we talk about at Millionaire University is the victimhood doesn't work. It cannot work because it will hold you back and you will not be successful. And if you have that victimhood mentality, you're going to fail because you're going to choose to fail. So I'm glad you brought that up. Now we could have a whole different episode on that, but that's one of the things that entrepreneurship weeds out really quick.
Yeah, that's important that we do. So, love this conversation. Where can people find out about you and all this amazing work you're doing?
Yeah, so you can, if you want to reach me directly, I'm most prevalent on LinkedIn, if you will. So look me up, BrienGearin. Would love to connect. You can check out Ricochet Digital Marketing. It's Ricochet, RICOCHET, D as in digital, M as in marketing.com. You can see the services that we offer there. And then obviously Millionaire University, check out the podcast, the Millionaire University podcast in millionaireuniversity.com. We also have our foundational program is called Build My Money Machine. You can check that out at buildmymoneymachine.com and see if it's a good fit for you.
And I'll have all that information in the show notes. So, Brian, always good talking with you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks so much for being on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michael.